Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadi alladhina istafa amma ba'd. The deen of Islam does not only focus on acts of worship. It provides us with directives for every aspect of our life so that we can have a harmonious and peaceful existence in this world. One such injunction is from Surah Banu Israel, in which Allah says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Allah has emphatically commanded that you do not worship anyone except Him, and that وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, that you be kind to your parents. That you be kind to your parents. إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ إِنْدَكَ الْكِبَرَ أَحَدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. That if any one of them reach old age, then treat them kindly and do not even say uff to them. Do not speak in an abusive, in a rude, and unbecoming manner to your parents. And this is amongst the foremost injunctions. The ulama say that if you look at it, Allah has spoken about the rights of the parents immediately after He spoke about His own rights. Meaning that the rights of the parents is right there on top after the rights of Allah. That is how high Allah has held the rights of parents. And we've been told in the ahadith that your parents, your mother and your father are your two gates to Jannah. If they are pleased with you, then you would have an easy entry into Jannah. By the same token, if they are unhappy with you and dissatisfied with you, then they would be the means of your entry into Jahannam. They are your gates to Jahannam. And when listening to this, one Sahabi said, but O Nabi of Allah, what happens if they act with us unjustly? If they act with us unjustly? And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, وَإِن ظَلَمَا وَإِن ظَلَمَا وَإِن ظَلَمَا. Even if they are unjust to you, you still have to be kind to them. You still have to be kind to them. And if we are kind to them, what does the hadith say? It is mentioned in the hadith that that person who looks at his parents, mother or father, with compassion and love in his heart, then he gets the reward of an accepted Hajj. He gets the reward of an accepted Hajj. And the Sahabi said, O Nabi of Allah, but what happens if I look at my parents 100 times a day? And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, at each time you'll get the same reward. The treasures of Allah have no limit. The treasures of Allah have no limit. So if we have our parents, we are really fortunate, and we should display this kindness to them and make the best. Consider it a great bounty to have them in your midst. Do not consider it a burden. And one of the developments of the latter era is the old age home, where the old people are dumped in the old age home and there's no one to care for them. Or that we keep moving them from one house to the other and they're unsettled all the time. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, amongst the signs of Qiyamah is a man will aqqa ummahu wa ata'a zawjatahu. He will break ties with his mother to follow his wife. وَأَدْنَى صَدِيقًا وَأَقْصَى أَبَاهُ. He will keep his friends close and he will keep his father far away. He will sever ties. So we see this amongst us. A short anecdote, that there was this person who, his mother lived with him. These children continued to complain and found it difficult. Eventually he put her in an old age home. And he didn't care for her. And one day he got a call that your mother slipped and she got very badly hurt. You need to rush. And he hadn't visited her for a long time, so he rushed there and he came there to her. And while she's in this state, in the last moments, he starts to speak to her. And she starts giving advice. And she starts saying certain things. And he asks, what can I do for you? And she says that I'd like you to fix the walk part here because it's broken over there. And there's a fan in the certain room. We get very hot while we're in that room. And there's another thing that is a problem in the kitchen. And all these things. And he's surprised and he says, but Mom, you've been injured so badly that you are about to die. Why are you worried about all these small things? So she says that I'm concerned about it, that when you have to come here, how will you live? And the hadith says that if you would like to be taken care of when you are old, then take care of old people. If you look after your parents, your children will look after you. But if you dump your parents in the old age home, the cycle of life continues. We move on to Surah Kahf. Now, Surah Kahf is a lengthy surah. It speaks about the people of the cave, the youngsters who fled with their deen, and they took refuge in the cave from a tyrannical king. They remained there for 309 years. This was an example of sacrificing for their deen. That is one story. Then there's another story, and that is the story of Musa alayhi salam and Khidr alayhi salam. And they're traveling together, and the aspects of the hidden world that Khidr alayhi salam displayed to Musa alayhi salam, and how he was astounded by it and perplexed. And then there is also the story of the king, Dhul Qarnayn, who was a just and a powerful ruler, who ruled the entire known world. Allah had given him authority, and Allah had given him dominion, and he had built the wall behind which Ya'juj and Ma'juj are being kept. So despite his power and might, he still remained obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then there are three parables. One is where Allah speaks about a person who is wealthy and very arrogant. And on the other hand, there's a poor man who's obedient to Allah. And the wealthy man thinks that even though he's a disbeliever, but the fact that he has wealth, that is a sign of his acceptance by Allah. When Allah says that is not the case, it doesn't mean that if you have wealth in this world, that Allah loves you. Then there's another example. This is the fifth one, the fifth parable. And this is with regards to haughtiness and arrogance, where we refuse to submit and surrender to the command of Allah. And the example was given with regards to shaitan. His refusal to make sajda to Adam alayhi salam, even though he had to look beyond whether he was superior to Adam or not, but he had to look at the fact that who is giving me this command. And then the sixth example is with regards to the reality of this world. It's fleeting and temporary. So there are 6 stories here in Surah Kahf. If we have to go through each one in detail, you may have to sit here till Seri time. So we suffice with the last one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا كَمَاءٍ أَنزَلْنَاهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَاخْتَلَطَ بِهِ نَبَاتُ الْأَرْضِ فَأَصْبَحَ هَشِيمًا تَذْرُوحُ الرِّيَاحُ. Present to them the similitude and the example of the life in this world. كَمَاءٍ أَنزَلْنَاهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَاخْتَلَطَ بِهِ نَبَاتُ الْأَرْضِ. Water comes down from the heavens in the form of rain. The earth is dead. When the water comes, it livens the earth and brings it back to life. Different types of greenery, plants, vegetation start to grow. It becomes lush. You see the flowers, the lush greenery, it's pleasing to the eye. Then no sooner, what happens is the change of the season, that very green plants, the very trees, it turns yellow and it starts losing its leaves. Eventually that very leaves are laying down on the ground, and then the wind comes and the wind blows it this way and that way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the same is this world. That the world is such that it has an attraction. It looks very appealing, enticing. You are tempted towards it. And you're willing to give everything for it. But with the passing of time, your body gets weak. And before you know it, you have to leave this world. Similarly, everything that is in this world, the time will come when it will perish. It will all be broken down. It will be reduced to rubble. And this entire world will be one open plain. One open plain. That is all that will remain in this world. So let us realize that we're giving everything for this world, but is it really worth it? It is so sad that you'll have 2 brothers born to the same mother and father, grew up in the same home, drank the same breast milk, played with each other in childhood, yet they'll fight with each other for inheritance. They'll allow the wealth of this world to separate them to such an extent that for the rest of their life they won't speak to each other. That is because of the love of this dunya. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, لَا الْفَقْرُ أَخْشَى عَلَيْكُمْ وَلَكِنْ أَخْشَى عَلَيْكُمُ الدُّنْيَا. I do not fear poverty for you. However, I fear the dunya for you, that it be opened up to you, and you have the resources at your disposal. And then فَتَنَافَسُوهَا كَمَا تَنَافَسُوهَا مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكُمْ. And then you start competing with one another. Who can drive a better car? Who can build a better home? Who has more properties? Who has more resources at his disposal? And if you start doing that, فَتُهْلِكَكُمْ كَمَا أَهْلَكَتْ مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكُمْ. It will destroy you like how it destroyed the people before. That is the reality of the world. So we are not told to totally disengage. We have necessities. We have needs. We need to fulfill those needs. We need to go out into the world and acquire our sustenance and our livelihood. Yet we are told that do not let the love of it enter your heart. That is the point. Do not let it enter your heart. Let it become such that you acquire it from the wrong mediums or you spend it in the wrong way. Fulfill all your obligations with regard to it, then it will be fine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from extreme love from the world. Undoubtedly we're living in a time of materialism and hubbud dunya. May Allah remove that from our hearts. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqi Muhammad wa ala